Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your boy Shieldcoomer, aka Sirigath, and in this video we're going to cover Throne of the Tides on a +22. This is going to be a Fortified, Volcanic, Spiteful, so, you know, active affixes of this week. It's a 22, so not too high. Obviously, this is very subjective, but I felt like it was alright. I'm gonna walk you over through something and talk about the gameplay as much as I can. I'm also trying like a little bit different style of video this time, where I'm gonna be actually watching the replay as I comment, instead of just commenting on the live game, on the video itself. So it's a little bit different. Obviously, if you haven't seen my other videos, this probably doesn't matter to you, but yeah, I just wanted to say that. I just want to see how this is going to work out, and, you know, leave any feedback is appreciated. Anyway, let's get into it. One change in this particular dungeon that I did start to do, which I think is very important to mention, is I noticed some other discs have actually gone back to Twilight Equilibrium. Aegis has been nerfed by 5%, which basically halved its value, so a lot of people have strayed away from this talent. I have seen people do a lot of different things. I have seen people put the talent here for the haste. I have seen people put the talent here for that smite absorb. I have seen people put talent here as well into the shield gives mana. All viable options. I have also seen Ultimate Penitence being picked up. I do think in some cases Ultimate Penitence does have its purpose, but I do think that basically the core of disc gameplay right now is healing through that penance. And one way to buff penance out of all the talents we have available left in the pool from the ones I mentioned is Twilight Equilibrium. Even though overall Twilight Equilibrium doesn't have that great value, I will mention one very important interaction, guys. If you want to min-max damage, a very important thing: Twilight Equilibrium buffs Purge the Wicked. You ideally want to be casting a dark spell such as Shadow Word. That's kind of like my go-to because it's instant. And then you want to apply Purge the Wicked with the buff. Yeah, so dark spell triggers the light buff being Purge the Wicked, and then you want to throw your penance, into that to spread it. That's a good way to spread dots. Then, of course, as soon as you can, you want to go into that Shadow Fiend and start doing all the other things that you normally do, 100%. But I would say that this is very important because you do want to be maintaining the, especially in higher keys on Fortified, where the mobs are gonna actually live for the majority of your duration. I do think this matters. This is, again, if you want to min-max damage. For healing, honestly, even that buffed version doesn't really provide you that big of an increase. It's kind of good, but it's not something you need to worry about. This isn't gonna make or break your key for the most part, so yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go back a little bit here, and this is one of the advantages that we'll have with me watching the replay, is here you can notice the wait, why are we skipping so much? Yeah, here it is, the debuff. Yeah, I think Paladin healed him here, so that is pretty important and big. But I will say this: I strongly suggest finding a way to track the debuff. So it's this debuff, yeah, that's gonna go on the DH. I have my frame set up in a way that I see the heal absorbs and see I can see it's basically his full HP bar in the absorb. So obviously this is ratio, this isn't always 100% accurate, but you should kind of know the values of this. It's around 1 million HP, I think, on this key level. And Fortified, very hard to heal for disc, very hard. You need to be ready for this. Ideally, I wasn't really ready. Paladin saved me. Ideally, people need to be using big defensives, so the dot ticks slower, and they need to be popping a health pot or health stone if you're playing with a Warlock, any sort of self-heal, and then you want to throw your penance into them and just heal them up. Anyway, I'm gonna go back a little bit forward. You know, just dodging dogs, dodging Spiteful. Nothing major here. I mean, you can see here I mind control Spiteful because it was bothering me. This is something you can do. It's not a big deal though. These guys are just easy to kite in general. and stuff, and then we get another one of these debuffs. So single target healing, penance, your strongest one. I personally have not had success healing this through atonement. I needed to do actual like healing spells onto the person that's targeted. And again, you guys know I'm a very strong advocate for atonement healing whenever possible. I will, however, say that cases like this, when people are getting these hardcore single target debuffs, and there is quite a bit of them in this current season, you do need to take care of them with your actual healing, such as mainly penance. It's mainly penance, and this is where things get tricky, because what do you do then? Do you then smite into another penance, or and hope that atonement is gonna be enough to keep them alive, or do you just flash heal? Because flash heal also got buffed. Flash heal is not completely useless at the moment. It is a decent healing spell, so it's this is kind of, you just have to kind of get a feel for it. I can't tell you this. It probably depends a little bit on the gear, on your mastery, on your eye level in general, and just how tanky and the damage profile. But I personally am scared to smite when I see somebody's dying to a slow ticking dot. I just decide to go full healer mode and heal them, which isn't disc strength, and it will drain your mana. But I personally found some success with it, so I'm kind of sticking with it until I need to figure out something new. Again, you know, just your regular old packs, you know, nothing major here. There's a couple of things to kick here, such as healing wave and stuff, and dispelling the obviously any sort of debuffs is definitely as high value. Just doing damage, just doing this stuff. This is our bread and butter pretty much this season, and that's doing damage. We do quite a bit of damage. You can also play some damage trinkets if you want to. In this key, I don't think I am playing damage trinkets. Yeah, I'm playing a Midrasil and Ember Soul, or whatever it's called. Both raid trinkets, both pretty mediocre for M+. Midrasil is decent enough, I suppose. But yeah, the Ember Soul is not that great. And here, this is potentially one of the more difficult pulls of the keep. You can see here how the trouble is basically in the fact that there's 2 sentinels, so you're basically going to have to heal 2 of these debuffs. Again, luckily, in this party we do actually have off healing, such as both druids and Protpala can do some off healing. I don't think druid did anything, but at least Protpala has definitely been helping a little bit with these debuffs. And frankly, that made this slightly more trivial than it was supposed to be, but you do want to be careful here. Save some healing, save your penance, don't waste it, and be smart with it. Another difficult pull, yeah, if you're a goblin, probably don't fall into that hole. that actually scared me. I was like, where am I? But yeah, just gotta be careful here. This pull again is not very difficult. If you have a Vengeance Demon Hunter and Augmentation Evoker, most of these pulls are not that scary, because you can just do a 10-second sigil for most of them, and like mobs kind of don't do anything. And in this key level, at least, they die before they even get to cast much. So yeah, just as long as you're on top of your kick game and stuff, these packs are pretty free. This one is a bit more dangerous because it also has bleeds. Watch out for your tank. If your tank gets too many stacks, you know, make sure to throw some pain subs and stuff. I personally, one thing I'm trying to get better at is just being like a little bit more proactive with pain sub. Even when I'm playing with like pre-made people and stuff, people are just rarely call for pain sub. It's kind of like they forget, and I'm usually very aware, but I'm kind of trying to save it for, you know, where I feel like I really need it. But in general, it's good to just use it whenever possible. And obviously, since we have a way of getting it back through the, you know, shields and stuff, it's actually one of the best usages of Rupture is to just farm your pain sub back. And, you know, Fortified, sometimes the packs really do hurt tanks, so it's a good idea to just have that ready. And you know, the more you play, the more you get used to certain tanks. I would strongly suggest learning and tracking their defensives, and then through that you will just kind of learn when each tank gets vulnerable, and how to compensate for that with your paint subs, because when they don't have defensives, that's where the paint sub gets a lot of value. Skipping forward a little bit here, we just have these void snapdragons or whatever they're called. These are like, no, vicious snapdragons, sorry. These are pretty free. I mean, you can see here the tank bubbled, yeah. So again, it's I'm not, because I'm not playing much with Prot Pala, I'm not really following Ardent very well, but usually you want to be following Ardent or Argent. What's there? I don't know, but it's there basically like cooldown for Palas, and once that expires, you know they're in danger. Palas are kind of scary like that, like they can just flop in a second, similar to Blood DK, but not exactly the same principle, but you know, it's a little bit of a skill thing. You know, good Prot Pala feels immortal, bad Prot Pala will feel very squishy. You know, just make sure to help with paint subs whenever possible, so they don't have to like bubble and stuff. No, he actually bopped. He didn't bubble, my bad. He bopped the debuff off. He didn't want to bubble there. I guess that's pretty smart, yeah. He did put forbearance on himself, which is a little bit scary, but he probably wanted to save the bubble for something a little bit more risky, and I think that was a good play. Pretty good by him. Anyway, again, skipping a little bit forward. Oh, we actually... Oh yeah, we lost a boomy here, so actually let me play this. Oh yeah, I remember this. So the tank went in and we just didn't interrupt, and guy got one shot. Not much we can do here, so skipping ahead. This is just pure interrupt pack. Simply interrupt as much as you can. Do not get hit by water bolts. The overlaps will kill you. Pop a defensive. I have a weak aura that tracks who's getting targeted by what. Very useful. Strongly recommend if you plan on playing a healer on high level, you kind of need to have that. It's almost mandatory in keys, especially. As much information as you can, it will only make you better, right? Information is good about damage intake, of course. You don't want to overwhelm your screen with useless information, but just information in general, very useful. And here we have this annoying debuff again. And I'm pretty slow to heal it, actually. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just being like very slow. Oh, I'm out of mana. Okay, maybe that's why. But I had to pop a health pot there and I still barely healed it. So yeah, I was just not ready for that. I think at the time I kind of forgot that that pack even has Sentinel. And I have like this little macro that basically spams in every single possible chat that I need mana. So I just kind of use that whenever I see I'm in trouble, and you know, if tank notices it, he notices. Good tanks usually know when you need mana. That's what I love about high level tanks, is they know the pace of the gameplay and they let you get the mana. Boss, not gonna talk about it much again. This boss, it's really simple. There really is not much to talk about. Okay, it's basically just throw your radiance when the AoE is happening, or you can even do it before a radiance and then just do your normal damage rotation. This boss is kind of a dummy. On Tyrannical, it might be worth discussing some externals and stuff on the shock blast. Obviously, when the shock blast explodes, it will deal quite a bit of damage to the person that it's on, and also it will spread the lightning bolts from its location that you have to dodge, otherwise you get stunned. Really easy boss, just dodge, kill the ads. It gets a little bit tricky during this intermission. I will say one thing though, help the tank, make life easier for your tank by standing near the middle so they can get aggro easier. Don't forget that healing aggro, for some reason Blizzard thinks that's a good mechanic, even though I don't necessarily agree. Just something to be careful about. Don't let it smash you, and that's it. And then again, just proceeding with your regular you know, healing. Again, you do want to kind of be spread so the chain lightning like isn't, you know, buzzing multiple people. I don't even know if that's a thing, but it looks like a thing to me, so I kind of do it. It's just about not really being surprised by this damage pattern. Whenever he does that Tempest, he does a lot of damage, the boss, or she, I think. But nothing too scary. Honestly, even on Tyrannical, it's not scary. As long as people don't get one shot, and as long as they're spread, you're gonna have time to heal them. I've done this on Tyrannical as well. I'm not sure if it was 22 or not, but it was 20 something, and it was spicy. But not because of that, because of Shock Blast. Basically, people weren't ready for Shock Blast damage, and few people died, but again, you know, if people get one shot, really, there's not much we can do about that. We can paint up eventually. So again, this is why I say if you want to play healer in high level, you kind of want to track people's defensives. If you see somebody doesn't have a defensive and you know they're a squishy class, I mean, make sure to give them that paint stop. Paint stop is incredibly potent and it should be used as much as possible. Anyway, that's boss. Probably easiest boss of this dungeon. Next one is Commander Ultok. I'm just skipping ahead a little bit, guys. Yeah, I don't wanna basically waste your time. Like, you don't need to watch me just run to the boss. There was nothing, no packs, no anything, so we just skipped a little bit. Basically, Bubbling Fissure, you should be stacked for this 100%. We didn't do that great of a job, but it wasn't the worst either. As long as they're in line, it's fine. I'll explain why you want to stack. So basically, the main reason you want to stack is because the way you deal with this boss is when the ads come, what you really want to do is you really want to be pushing them back. Yeah, you don't want these ads to touch you with this with this dirt around them, with the purple void thing. So essentially, what you need to do is anytime you damage them, they get knocked back. One great way to do this is Holy Nova. Actually, it does put you in a little bit of a risky position, so you do need to be ready for it, but Holy Nova will push them all back with one cast, and it's really powerful. If you feel like you're struggling to heal, obviously let your DPSers do this and just keep the party alive. This boss does actually do a decent chunk of damage on Tyrannical. On Fortified, it's kind of a joke, honestly. I mean, I hate to say things like that, but it kind of is. But yeah, on Tyrannical, this dot actually does hurt quite a bit, so the knockback is kind of dangerous. So I tend to, you know, in the dangerous overlaps when I need to heal, I'll let my DPS do this, but in general, like on Fortified on this level of the key, I was pretty chill to do it myself, as you've seen. And also people did help. They, you know, this is just a mechanic boss, you know, you just do mechanics and you're chilling. There's really not much need to overcomplicate things, you know. Here just, I mean, obviously just don't get hit by lightning, you know, nothing to talk about. Skipping ahead a little bit. Still only 2 deaths, pretty clean dungeon so far. For this dungeon, I would say 2 deaths at this point is pretty okay. Like, the hard part is sort of over until we get to the last portion of the dungeon. These specs are dangerous. They can feel kind of scary at times. Tanks tend to take a lot of damage here. These beams will one-shot you if you're a DPS or healer. I think they one-shot. Maybe they don't exactly one-shot, but they put you pretty low, so obviously dodge them. I really don't like when people tank these packs on the stairs, because you can't see the circles or the lines. I really prefer this to be pulled further up ahead. I've seen way too many people die to lines here already, and it's just frustrating, but not because they're bad, it's because you don't see them sometimes, because, you know, Blizzard is not that great at coding the Z-axis, you know, up and down. With the abilities on the floor, it hasn't been their strength. It's traditionally just been pretty wonky, so especially in these older dungeons, I would really stray away from any sort of elevation as much as possible. And here, you know, you don't want to get caught with your pants down, but overall there's just not much healing to be done here. You can just kind of DPS, help these packs die quicker. They are somewhat annoying, nothing too major though. These guys will just pull you. The real danger is in the overlaps, right? If you get pulled into the line or circle, that's when things get dangerous. And Druid died there. I'm not even sure what he died to. Let me see. What did he die to? He was behind me. He got pulled. This looks like a Spiteful hit into the cast. That's what it looked like to me. You know, just people not interrupting. He was out of range for me, so there wasn't much I can do there. I don't know if that's my fault or his fault. I personally felt like my positioning was okay. I was kind of with the group. He was the one that was isolated, so I'm gonna say this one wasn't him. Anyway, we can skip forward a little bit here. There's really not much more to say about this pack. You know, again, just in the interest of saving you guys some time, trying to keep it interesting. This pack, again, it's mostly just tank busters, and then if these psionic pulses go off, you do want to be ready for that. You know, you don't want to be caught with your pants down. It's just it's again just interrupts and CC control. You know, in this dungeon it's relatively easy as long as you're on top of your interrupts and stuff like that. This boss is actually hard. Yeah, actually hard boss, I would say. You might be saying, what is this guy talking about? This boss is so easy, bro, just dispel. Yes, you're right, but it is hard. As you go higher, and I've seen this yesterday, as you go higher, 23 or 24, you will notice that the flame shock actually does a big chunk of your HPS with just the application itself, and then it continues ticking pretty rapidly. At some point in the fight you will start falling behind on the dispels. That's just how the fight is designed, especially during the stone flurry totem. Very important that totem dies fast so the boss doesn't like chunk us all down. People need to like understand this, especially DPSers. Obviously for you, I mean, as a disc you can definitely help with damage, but you know, you're not gonna like solo the totem. Very important totem dies. I cannot stress this enough. I know it's like one of those mechanics that looks kind of like meh, but if the totem stays up, you will fall behind, you will start losing the battle with the spells, and you will start losing people. Very important to get proper usage of your externals and people using their personals. You will notice that I'm seeing here that the druid has used everything he had. So you know, pain sub was there. This you just need to like line of sight. Even if you don't, you just get feared. You don't even get killed, so it's not a big deal. Obviously, you ideally don't want to get feared. You want to kill the boss, but yeah. Anyway, once you get to this point, the fight is kind of over. This becomes an easy boss. But yeah, this boss is hard, guys. I would like greatly suggest like making sure that people are focusing the totem very very well, and they're just being focused on the boss fight, because I used to think this boss is free and just a dummy, but it's actually turned out to be potentially one of the more difficult bosses of the dungeon. This pack is Giga Danger. Giga Danger, very dangerous pack. I think Rupture, this is one of the rare packs where I actually suggest using Rupture, simply because spears can one-shot you if they overlap, so that shield from Rupture might actually save somebody's life. And also this is one more pack where I would actually suggest using the barrier. Ever since barrier nerf, I've been kind of debating whether I want to go for that other talent, whatever it's called. I haven't really played it yet. Don't get me wrong, by the way, barrier still outweighs that talent by a mile in terms of like how much damage it reduces, because 15% damage reduction is still way more than that barrier provides in terms of absorb. However, that barrier, the other barrier, the talent that's not the barrier, is guaranteed on everyone, whereas barrier isn't. Oftentimes, in a lot of fights, I will struggle to find the place to put the barrier that everybody can stand in, and then the barrier loses a lot of value. You see this in raid as well, yeah? In raid, there's a lot of fights where people simply have to spread, and then the barrier definitely drops in value. Now, good guilds and like good players find a way to be in it even when things look dire. However, that's not always going to be possible, and sometimes you're also going to play with players that are a little bit less aware in things, or they can get overwhelmed. You know, it happens to everyone. You know, you sometimes just miss that somebody is using like one of these defensive cooldowns and you're not standing in it. That happens to everyone. So it's important to just be on top of your game and just be ready to adapt. But obviously, in terms of like what talent you may want to play, I do still think barrier has a lot of value, so I am playing with it, and I think that was a good pack to use it. Any of these packs is good, especially at the end of this corridor. There's the double sentry. I think they're called, are they called sentries? Yeah, tainted sentry. Yeah, they're scary. Listen, swell hurts a lot if you have a lot of debuffs, and sometimes the party is not disciplined and they just like AoE a lot, and then you get a lot of debuffs. Now swell happens. You can survive it even on high fortified. You can survive it as long as it's not like you know, like 20. If it's like, you know, a few debuffs, it's livable, as long as you know, just just try our best. Sometimes, you know, put a few externals, put a barrier down, use some darkness, some shouts, some, you know, sacks. There's ways to survive it. Obviously, it doesn't one-shot, it's multiple ticks, but ideally you don't want to be dealing with it. Ideally, because it really hurts, you just want to kind of be careful not to go into the pool with a lot of stacks, like we are gonna do right now. Anyway, Aqua Blast also needs to be interrupted. That's also very dangerous. These Goblin Aqua Mages seem harmless, but this Aqua Blast deals significant amount of damage, so make sure that's interrupted. Don't forget we also have Fear, so if need be, use your Fear. And again, you know, mind controlling your Spiteful is helpful, but, you know, still gotta be careful. I actually ended up, because of the kiting, I ended up pulling like a little bit extra, which is really not good, but it is what it is. I'm not sure if I actually pulled or if they would come anyway, but yeah, we ended up with a little bit of extra ads regardless, and just something to be mindful of, I guess. Here you just AoE heal as much as you can, and you know, one sentry should probably die first, just so you don't get double swelled like we are gonna get now. And then this Spiteful really made healing this kind of difficult, but you know, at the moment we do have decent healing in that you know, passive kind of way with Shadowfiend and Radiance being up, so as long as you have atonements on people, you're chilling. I really do miss that extended duration on the atonements from Radiance on the from previous season though. Anyway, even though Disc is much stronger this season than the last one, I think, but yeah, still, you know, I do miss that aspect at least. Anyway, here you want to stack this dirt and then move out of it as soon as possible. It does deal a lot of damage, so you do want to be careful. And then, you know, just hope people clear here properly. Baiting ads, I think, you know, probably closer to the boss would be better, but, you know, I had to move from the dirt and I also don't want to be moving too much. I want to make sure people are healed. But in general, this boss is relatively simple in theory, but in practice, just cleaning needs to be done properly. That's all there is to it. Be careful when the actual damage comes. It does hurt quite a bit. If you overlap, you will die. Be careful, yeah. And standing like this on the edge is more often than not pretty safe, but yeah, as you can see, you just need to like soak up the puddles. Make sure they're like soaked completely though. And yeah, just cleaning the floor, you know. Washing company, I suppose. You can see this is the real power of Prot Pala, by the way. Like this guy did so much like small little plays that kind of go unnoticed, like off healing, sacks, all these like nice little things. They really do help as a healer. I really like Prot Paladins. I hope they get some buffs and they get a little bit stronger. They really help you a lot as a healer, especially I feel like they compensate a lot for these weaknesses, which is these instant small little heals and stuff. And they provide a lot of externals as well, which is just great. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna be the key, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the key. You know, make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe if you enjoy the content. It would help out a lot. And let me do more of this, more videos, more keys and all that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, hope you guys found it fun. Okay, let's not forget the very difficult stage 2. Yeah, how could I forget this? But here you just get Giga buff and you just, yeah, you're just gonna blast. Here's where you pad your overall, by the way. Yeah, you just do a good here and your overall is up. Easy. Then you can tell your friends, what, your healer does 60k DPS? Well, I do like 100 and yeah. I just want to see if I'm gonna show you guys the damage overall. Sometimes I forget, but I do tend to click it. No, that's unlucky. Maybe. But yeah, that was a pretty good run overall. As I said, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I hope to see you on the next one, guys. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's pause here. Let's take a look at the damage overall. Obviously, pot usage, not the greatest. You know, I only used it 3 times during 28 minutes. It should have been 5 or even 6 because you can pre-pot and stuff. So, I mean, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's 6 plus 1 pre-pot. So yeah, I should have had like 6 or 7. I guess I was kind of conservative with it, or maybe I just didn't feel it's needed. You can see Halo being like a pretty good powerhouse of damage. Mindbender obviously number 1. Penance and Smite, as expected, pretty high as well because of the double Smite. Purge the Wicked used to be your highest, now it's not really anymore, but you can always like get it better by just utilizing the Twilight Equilibrium as we talked about on the start of the dungeon. Mind Control, Spiteful Shade will do like some hits here and there, but that doesn't really matter, it's not what we're talking about. Crystalline Reflection actually did a decent amount. Extinction Blast is the weapon buff that basically does some extra damage when the targets are below in the like execution threshold, and it also does the big hit on 3-minute cooldown that can be reduced. Pretty good weapon for M+, if you can grab this, try it. I wouldn't sacrifice eye level for it, but I got lucky and I got a Mythic like that in the vault, so I took it. Holy Nova can also do quite a bit. I try my best to use it, but I feel like in the current playstyle, you really want to be smiting more and just smite penance loop rather than Holy Nova. But you know, if you have Rhapsody buff on the 20 stack and you can just like walk in and do it, it's not a bad, and also it does decent healing. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about this like slightly different style of you know, reviewing it through the, you know, me watching the video, and so we can like go back and go forward and stuff. I think it's good. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, good luck in your keys.